Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, and committee members. I'm Craig Watson, Director of the California Arts Council, and certainly delighted to be with you today. I think nothing is more powerful than experiencing the stories of our state's local creative economies, artists, and vibrant communities when told by the participants themselves. So to honor this, I'd like to start by playing a brief video so you can hear directly from several of our grantees and partners in the state. Let's watch the video.
Since the dawn of time, creativity has been used to express our experiences as human beings, whether it's cave paintings or the Mona Lisa. Art not only mimics life, but it also contributes to what society does.
Art is freedom. It's freedom of expression. It's emotion.
Art is an amazing thing that not only helps drive our economy, it also can change people's lives.
It's all about flowing with your creativity and making sure that you be who you are inside your art.
I have such a deep appreciation for the process of creating something.
If we're going to solve any problems in our world today, it's going to take creative thinking. We can no longer stay in the box that we're in.
The California Arts Council has been about statewide leadership from its origins to the present. It's been a place that has been able to connect all of the disparate artists and arts groups in the state.
When we started in 1988, Destiny Arts Center was addressing a need for young people to have a place to feel safe and to develop skills so that they could stay safe in their communities, both at home, at their schools, and on the streets.
Math in Motion was created about 7 years ago. We started by working directly with the school district to assess what types of arts integration were going to be most successful. So one of the things that I was most interested in was exploring this idea of when do students decide that they're not good at math? And what can we do as artists to have an intervention?
Well, the Prism Project comes from the Actors Gang, which is a theatre company that was founded in 1981. What you're going to see is an open workshop. It's not a show. What this work does is it gives people tools to help them manage their emotional life. This is a 500- or 600-year-old style of theatre that started in Europe called Commedia dell'arte.
Piece by Piece offers residents of Skid Row and South Los Angeles opportunities for arts learning with an earned income.
ACTA stands for the Alliance for California Traditional Arts. Every state in the country has a state folk arts program, and ACTA serves in that capacity for the California Arts Council. With over 100 different languages spoken in the state that has the highest number of Native Americans, the largest number of immigrants, it's a really, really rich tapestry of culture.
The Veterans Art Park is a series of murals which will be a mobile art park for and by veterans and the public.
It's important to me for the simple reason it tells a story about a military life, what some of these men and women went through from the Korean War, the Vietnam War.
Every great idea needs a helping hand, and without California Arts Council's Veterans Initiative in the Arts, we wouldn't have had that helping hand.
The California Arts Council really has helped Destiny grow by investing in our performing arts programs.
The California Arts Council's support of artists working in schools and bringing arts into schools is really making sure that STEM is accessible for everyone and that it's fun.
When you're homeless, you don't have much art in your life, and I think art is something that everyone needs. And in fact, I think that the recognition from the California Arts Council, to me, that's part of that message.
The partnership with the California Arts Council and CDCR has revolutionized what we're able to do. We were able to do it on a small scale, and now we're able to be in 6 prisons and then 9 prisons.
It's really a public safety issue what we're dealing with. Because wouldn't you want person that is in prison to come out with better skills in dealing with disappointment, obstacles, unemployment when they come out.
I 100% do believe art of any kind is a very important part of the healing process.
Me ha hecho creer en que puedo, en que soy una persona útil.
Before I went to school for art, I was definitely a different person in the way that I was having trouble coping with becoming a civilian.
I was one of those quiet kids that was always sitting inside the corner by himself. I always did like turn on some music, got that just like dance, because I just felt so alone. I thought I needed to just open up a little bit.
Art has changed my life. It has honestly allowed me to express more of myself, and I think that's very important.
So thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to present this inspiring sample of the amazing work taking place across California as the result of our state's investment in the arts. As the video illustrated, this year marks the 40th anniversary of your state arts agency, the California Arts Council. This agency has a legacy of supporting vital arts and culture programs across our state for over 40 years. But as you know, our own funding has not been immune to the ebbs and flows of the state's economy. Now, after more than 10 years of operating on what some might rightly call a shoestring, the Arts Council has seen significant reinvestment in state support by our governor and by this legislature and by those of you in this room. This year, we will nearly triple the number of grants we're able to provide annually. This increased state investment in the arts and in local communities will play a critical and enduring role in advancing California. And for this, I'd like to say to you, thank you, to our legislature, to Governor Brown, and to all of California's arts champions. As you've just heard from our partners at Otis and the LAEDC, this year's statewide Otis report reinforces our shared contention regarding the significance and importance of creative work and creative workers in every corner of the state. The statewide Otis report has become a game changer for California's arts field over the past 3 years, and we're proud to support its creation. This data clearly illustrates that California's competitive edge nationally and globally is made possible as a result of innovative and creative leaders investing in our towns and cities. Now, with the new regional snapshots made available in this year's report, local communities can more clearly pinpoint the direct role they play in advancing the success of their region and of our entire state. We expect this report will continue to be used as a benchmark for progress we make as a state, and also increasingly for our regions for their planning and advocacy. Turning back to the California Arts Council for a moment, I'd like to briefly share with you our priorities, really the values that drive our work, and the priorities for investing state dollars, our tax dollars, in fulfilling our mission of advancing California through the arts and creativity. I think you'll easily see how our 4 key priorities contribute to the vital needs of our communities and to the essential creative economy sector we are here to discuss today. Our first priority is a commitment to access, equity, and diversity. The Arts Council has a deep history of celebrating and serving our state's diverse populations through the arts and creative expression. It has been essential to our work since day one, when Governor Brown, then Governor Brown, appointed the first Arts Council members in 1976. That first 11-member council was made up of 10 highly diverse artists representing a wide array of cultural heritages and artistic disciplines. And as we understand it, the 11th member was often referred to as the token businessman. Today, our commitment to access, equity, and diversity is stronger than ever, with an explicit tenet of our strategic plan dedicated to building programs in service to equity, such as our new Cultural Pathways program, again made possible by the expanded funding that we've been given, specifically serving small and emerging organizations rooted in communities of color, recent immigrant and refugee communities or tribal groups. Also, our Jump Starts program, providing arts education to our state's most vulnerable youth in juvenile justice settings all over the state. Or our local impact program, which specifically reaches into rural communities or those economically challenged urban communities where access to art services are limited but essential. Our second priority, arts, learning, and engagement, is largely about cultivating the next generation of Californians. Programs like our Artists in Schools program, placing teaching artists in classroom settings, or our Poetry Out Loud program that many of you have visited when they're in the Capitol, which engages high school students with poetry and public speaking and helping to ensure that tomorrow's innovators succeed and thrive today. Also key to our arts learning priorities is a commitment to Californians who can greatly benefit from the rehabilitative and restorative nature of the arts, such as our state veterans, as you saw in the video, or our state's incarcerated men and women, again, as you saw examples in the video. Our third priority is cultural vibrancy and community development, and that supports a wide range of projects that are crafted by each community to reflect their values and needs. It's been amazing to us to see what artists can accomplish when working collaboratively within their communities. Investments in local projects through our Creative California Communities program, where our largest grants are distributed throughout the state. And Artist Activating Communities, which is a new program that allows us to spark powerful growth and prosperity in communities, again, throughout the state, enhancing tourism, local economic growth, job creation, and so much more. These projects include, just one example, the Richmond Renaissance Mapping Project, where our grantee, the East Bay Center for the Performing Arts, partnered with a local community development corporations to specifically match artists in locations to new resident-driven interactive community map, celebrating the people, the themes, the history, and legacy of struggling areas of Richmond, and reminding us of why these places survived and in many cases thrived. There are dozens of examples like this made possible as a result of state arts funding. And our final priority, humble as it may be, is fundamental to the success of our state, and that is the support services and resources we bring to our work. This commitment is a recognition that our agency has a role to play in helping communities and the state arts ecology thrive. It's the training, the support organizations, the networking, the convenings, the leadership development, the research, and the cultivation of arts leaders. As a very brief note, side note, I'd like to mention a new program, and you've already heard reference to it between the chair in reference to Assemblyman Bloom. And that will be launched by the end of this year with a related focus on technical support and assistance to local communities. Thanks to legislation authored by Assembly members Richard Bloom and Marie Waldron, the California Arts Council has been authorized to develop California's first statewide cultural districts program. We are currently undergoing a detailed planning process for this new program, which will support a statewide network of districts that serve as a focal point for a city or town's unique cultural identity, be that Big Bear or San Jose or Palos Verdes or Santa Monica. Cultural districts are defined as well-recognized geographical areas in which a high concentration of cultural facilities, creative enterprises, or arts venues serve as a main anchor or attraction. This exciting new program will further support the growth of local economies through authentic community and cultural engagement. All of these activities and values that I've noted are key to what we're here to discuss today and key to our work as a state arts agency. And with that, I'd like to close by just saying that those of us in this room know to be true. The arts are indispensable to California, to the California we know and love. They are indispensable to the communities we know and love, and they are indispensable to Californians young and old. A vibrant culture with rampant creativity at the core makes our state a place where individuals from across the world want to live, work, visit, and invest, and that can never be overstated. Thank you for your time and attention and for your hard work and service on behalf of all Californians.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you. Thank you to all the panelists. Are there questions that anyone has from the committee? All right, I just had one quick thing I wanted to ask. Had to do with art galleries, and it's one of the kind of areas that was one of the tiniest segments of employment in the creative economy in this report. And I know, obviously, it's a small sector, but numbers do continue to dive. There have been some exciting stories, like in the LA Arts District, but just wanted to get a sense from you as to what are some success stories, what are some of the what's sort of the broader trend in that area, and is there anything that you've learned that was surprising in relation to this this kind of distressing trend that we see statewide?
We did not really investigate in the report why certain industries or components of the creative economy were falling relative to other ones. I suspect that the trend within arts galleries would be related to the recession, declines in disposable income, high unemployment, and that as the economy continues to strengthen, as people see their wages and incomes start to rise, at least grow stronger than they have been in the past. Some of these things that are related to consumer spending, such as art galleries, hopefully we'll see some of that start to return.
I also think it's worth noting, just as you made the example of the Arts District in LA, I was, on Mother's Day, my wife and son went to the Arts District to see many of the galleries that are now open on Sundays. Just the fact that the gallery life is expanding dramatically in an area of downtown LA, I think is a promising sign. It doesn't answer the full question about the statewide impact of these declines, but there is certainly good news in clusters like the Downtown Arts District.
The third thing is that the third factor, I think, Senator Allen, is that some of this information isn't available to us because they're private companies and private corporations. So there's parts of that economy which are actually doing very well, but we don't have access to in terms of the report. An example I'd give last night, Christie sold $138 million worth of contemporary art last night.
Right.
And, that's not something that we can actually measure, but there are ways that we can get closer to measuring it as we move forward.
Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, that's hopeful. It'd be interesting to hear more about that if there's gaps in the data that may explain it. We're certainly seeing these wonderful increases in neighborhood art walks that are happening all over the place, and I think we're hopeful that with the implementation of Assemblymember Bloom's bill, we will be able to reverse whatever decline may exist if it does.
Yeah, it may very well be related to data limitations. In many cases, the business classifies themselves. So if they misclassify themselves or describe themselves as something else, then we're not going to pick them up in the numbers. In terms of these art walks and things that are being creative, if that's not formal employment or what we call wage and salary employment, they're filing, unemployment insurance and things like that, which is where we get these wage and salary numbers, they won't be picked up.
And you made one other point, which I think is important to note. Assemblyman Bloom's bill, arts and culture districts in some of the other states where this activity takes place actually have in their arts districts tax incentives, tax abatement for art sales. And they found in some of the examples in other states, this has helped benefit the art gallery community and bring art galleries into greater concentration. So it might be something we think about as we think about one of the criteria for a new arts and culture district.
Okay, that's helpful. Well, thank you so much to the panel. Really appreciate your very wise words. And let's now bring up our next panel, which is a really cool group. We've got real live designers, innovators, who are coming up to speak to us. So, so Deborah Nadelman-Landis, who is a costume designer and historian who is an extraordinary. I really do encourage you to look at her biography. Take a look at it. She's worked on some of the most impactful films that we've ever that are such an important part of our cultural identity, including, of course, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and also she did all the costumes for Michael Jackson's Thriller, which was very exciting. We also are going to hear from Mr. Maurice Woods, who's the executive director and founder of the Interact Project, and is also senior experience design lead at Microsoft, and is going to tell us a very interesting story about his mixture of work. And then Gretchen de Castellane, who's the director of Hot Wheels packaging design at Mattel down in El Segundo, and just real excited to hear from the three of you. We'll start with Deborah, and appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Senator Allen, and thank you, members of the committee. It might seem a little strange to choose a costume designer as the person to come and testify before the committee, but I think I'm right that we haven't met ever, right? And I don't know anybody in this room. These are all strangers, and yet you really know, and all of you really know too, Indiana Jones, which, right? You can conjure him up. Michael Jackson's Thriller. Everybody know the jacket? Right. But really, only my parents knew that it was Deborah Nadoolman who created those costumes. If I hadn't told you, you couldn't name the designer of Indiana Jones. And yet we made those clothes in California. And so my presentation today is really about costume design, what you don't know about costume design, and how exponentially powerful those characters are, and popular culture, and the power of storytelling. Is it this? So I'm gonna try to be short. I teach 3-hour classes at UCLA, so I'm really gonna watch my clock. So I'm gonna teach you a little bit about costume design. Costume design really has less to do with clothes than it does with story. So it starts with the script. And where does the story take place? Is he dressed correctly? No. Is she dressed correctly? No. He is very dead, right? Right? She is not dressed correctly. So the most important thing about costume is that it serves the story, and it has to be appropriate for the story at whenever we find that character. The primary function of costume design is storytelling, and it telegraphs social status, economic status, time period, occupation, weather, and genre. So what is a costume? Well, everybody gets dressed up for Halloween and assumes that this is what costume is. And when you think of costume design, and you can look at all these pictures, this is what you think of costume design as. However, I'm here to tell you that this is also costume design, and so is this. Costume design, sometimes the best costume design, completely disappears into the narrative. Now, costume designers are just essential to the creation of these iconic characters. Here's Michael Kaplan, just picked a few. So from Flashdance to Star Trek to Blade Runner to Fight Club to Star Wars, Michael Kaplan is a Californian who makes these costumes here in California. The impact is exponential and worldwide. People may not speak our language, but we all share a common popular culture. Sharon Davis is working constantly, and you can name all of these films. Ellen Mirojnick has, and now costume designers are working in both film and television about the same amount. It used to be a hierarchy. Well, television is having its golden age. And then I can speak about my work. I mean, I think you know the Blues Brothers. I think I was Oscar nominated for Coming to America. There is the Three Amigos, Indiana Jones, Animal House, and Michael Jackson's Thriller. I think you really know my work. So I'm going to leave myself on the screen for just a half a second and just say that costume designers punch well above our weight if you consider the national and global impact of our work. There are 1,000 costume designers in Local 892. That's IA Local 892. But the impact of our individual creative contributions is absolutely profound. The Costume Designers Guild also has an abundance of international creative talent who migrate to California because California is the nexus and the hub of emerging platforms. Talented people worldwide have to be here. They must come here. Then think about one character in this group, just one, Indiana Jones. It's easy to understand the enduring effect that this one costume has on the state of California. You know that everybody know what he looks like, but before I came in the room, you had no idea who designed it. So in 2012, I curated a blockbuster exhibition, sort of the Hamilton of exhibitions, at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, right? This exhibition had 268,000 people visit it in 14 weeks. The exhibition toured worldwide, and then came to the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, closed last year. It was open for 6 months. And I actually have some stats about it. At the Academy, Hollywood Costume itself brought in $6 million into the local economy. Over 80,000 people attended, 50% from outside the Southern California area. And it really gave an expanded view of costume design and filmmaking and inspired others to learn more about both, and really will serve very much as a template for the new museum. I hope this, yes, wow. Let's see if this works.